Unit 2 approaching pumps now. See anything? Negative. Perimeter's quiet. Stay sharp. Copy that. ID. Now. Yes, sir. Here.
Dispatch possible 10-7 black male claims 3-star general sending ID.
Step away from the vehicle. Benson, you're detaining me?
If you enjoy more videos like this, kindly subscribe. Hit the like button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out. The time is 11:47 p.m. when Lieutenant Rubin Hale eased his black Suburban into the far pump at the all-night fuel stop off I-40 in western Oklahoma. The station sat like a lonely island of light in the endless dark of the plains, 2 fluorescent islands, a mini-mart with flickering beer signs, and a single attendant visible through the glass. Hale had been driving since dawn, leaving Fort Sill after a change of command. Ceremony he had presided over as the senior mentor. Tomorrow morning, he was due at the Pentagon for a closed door session on force posture along the southern border. He was in full Class A uniform, the dark green jacket pressed sharp, the 3 silver stars on each shoulder, catching the overhead lights like small constellations, ribbons from Desert Storm, 2 tours in Iraq, 3 in Afghanistan, and a dozen quieter wars filled the left breast. At 58, he still carried the posture of a man who had never forgotten the weight of every promotion. He killed the engine, stepped out, and the night air smelled of diesel and cold earth. The attendant, a white woman in her 60s, glanced up from her register and gave the smallest nod of recognition. Hale swiped his government card, started the pump, and let the numbers roll. He was thinking about his wife, Elaine, waiting in their townhouse in Arlington, and their son, Captain Jamal Hale, somewhere over the Pacific on a rotation to Korea. Routine thoughts, safe thoughts. Then the 2 patrol cars rolled and .3 officers climbed out. Sergeant Dale Jenkins, 43, thick through the chest, a former MP who had left the Army after a bad tour in Ramadi and carried the grudge like shrapnel. Officer Maria Vargas, 34, quiet, competent, the one who usually tried to de-escalate. And Officer Kyle Benson, 26, fresh out of the academy, still believing every call was a potential viral moment. They had been working a bolo all shift. A theft ring out of Fort Sill had lifted 24 dress uniforms, blank cat cards, and high-value credentials 2 weeks earlier. The tip line described the primary suspect as a tall black male, possibly in stolen military attire, driving a dark SUV. The description was thin. It always was. Jenkins saw the stars first. He stopped mid-step, elbowed Vargas. "You seeing this?" Vargas's eyes narrowed. Could be real. Benson was already reaching for his radio. Or the guy who cleaned out the depot. Uniform looks too clean for this time of night. Hale felt the shift in the air the way soldiers feel incoming mortars. He replaced the nozzle, screwed the cap, and turned to face them, hands visible at his sides. Jenkins approached first, hand resting on the butt of his Glock. "Evening, sir. Mind stepping away from the vehicle?" Hale kept his voice level, the same tone he used in battalion briefings when things were about to go sideways. "Good evening, Sergeant. I'm Lieutenant General Rubin Hale, United States Army. Here's my ID and driver's license." He reached 2 fingers into his breast pocket, produced the cards, and extended them. Jenkins took them without touching Hale's hand. He held the ID to the light, tilting it back and forth. The hologram shimmered correctly. The photo matched. The rank, the name, the blood type, the Geneva Convention category, all there. "Dispatch. We've got a possible 10 to 57. At the all-night on 40. Black male. Claims to be a 3-star general. Sending ID details now." He read the long string of numbers into the radio, then looked back at Hale. "You mind telling me what a 3-star is doing out here alone at midnight?" Pumping his own gas. "I'm driving to DC, Sergeant. Long road. Needed fuel." Vargas shifted her weight. "Sir, there was a theft ring. I'm aware of the thefts at Sill." Hale cut in calmly. "I signed the memo on it. The suspect descriptions I saw were for a man in his 20s. I'm 58. My vehicle is registered to the Army. My orders are in the glove box." Benson had already moved to the Suburban. He opened the passenger door without asking. "Kyle, wait," Vargas said. Jenkins ignored her. "Step back from the vehicle, General, if that's what you are. We're going to verify this." Hale felt the first real heat rise in his chest, but he kept his hands open. "You're detaining me? Until we're sure you're not the guy who walked out of the depot. With a duffel full of stars, yes." Handcuffs clicked. Cold steel against the wrists that had shaken. Hands with presidents and sergeants major alike. Hale was placed in the back of Jenkins's cruiser, the door shut. Through the glass, he watched Benson rummage through the glove box, pulling out the leather portfolio with his travel orders, the Pentagon badge, the framed photo of Elaine and Jamal that Hale kept on the dash. Vargas stood a few feet away, arms crossed, looking uncomfortable. Inside the car, the radio crackled. Dispatch came back. ID is in the system. Lieutenant General Hale is active duty, current assignment confirmed. But the theft alert is still open. Hold for secondary verification. Jenkins leaned against the hood, arms folded. Secondary verification. That's Cop 4, we don't believe the computer. Hale sat perfectly still, back straight, eyes forward. He had been in worse places, Fallujah in 04. The green zone when the mortars walked in. This was different. This was home soil, and the enemy wore a badge. He thought of the young lieutenant he had mentored last year, a black woman who had asked him, "Sir, does the uniform ever stop them from seeing the skin?" He had answered, "Honestly, sometimes. Not always." Minutes stretched. 10, 15. A trucker at Pump 4 had his phone out, filming quietly. The attendant had come to the door, watching. Vargas finally spoke to Jenkins. "Dale, the system says he's legit. Let him go." Jenkins's jaw worked. "I've seen forged CACs that looked better than this. Guy could have bought the whole kit on the dark web. Stars are easy to sew on." Benson came back holding Hale's phone, which had begun ringing. His aide calling from DC to confirm arrival time. Jenkins took the phone and silenced it. Hale spoke through the cracked window, voice still measured. "Sergeant, my aide is calling because I'm expected at the Pentagon in 9 hours. If you damage my career tonight because you refuse to believe a black man can wear these stars, that's on you. But I will remember your name, your face, and your badge number." Jenkins laughed once, short and ugly. "Threatening me now?" "No. Promising you accountability." Vargas stepped between them. "Dale, enough." The system cleared him. Cut him loose. Another 5 minutes. Finally, the state trooper who had been monitoring. The viral videos rolling across local social media rolled in, lights but no siren. Trooper Ramirez, a former Army staff sergeant himself, took one look at the stars through the cruiser window and his face tightened. He walked straight to Jenkins. "You got a 3-star in cuffs?" Jenkins started to explain the theft ring. Ramirez cut him off. "I just ran the name myself from my car. He's who he says he is. Release him. Now." The cuffs came off. Hale stood, rubbing his wrists, and accepted his documents back from a silent Benson. He looked at each of them in turn. "Vargas, you tried. Thank you." To Benson, "You're young. Learn something tonight." To Jenkins, "You chose fear over facts. That choice has consequences." He climbed back into the Suburban, started the engine, and pulled out onto the highway. In the rear view, the 3 officers stood under the lights like men who had just realized the ground had shifted beneath them. By the time Hale reached the Oklahoma-Texas line, the videos had 400,000 views. By sunrise, when he walked into the Pentagon, the Chief of Staff of the Army was waiting in the corridor. "Rubin," the 4-star said quietly, "we saw. You okay?" "Physically, yes. The rest we'll handle through channels." The investigation was swift. Jenkins was placed on administrative leave within 48 hours. The department issued a public apology that read like it had been written by lawyers. Vargas and Benson received retraining, but Hale refused to let it end there. He requested, quietly, through the proper chain, a meeting with the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation and the local chief. He did not ask for heads on pikes. He asked for mandatory implicit bias training that included real military ID verification protocols and ride-alongs with MPs from nearby bases. He offered to speak at the next Academy class. 3 months later, Sergeant Dale Jenkins resigned before the Internal Affairs Board could finish its report. In his exit interview, he said only, "I thought I was doing the job." No one believed him anymore. Lieutenant General Reuben Hale flew home to Arlington that same week. Elaine met him at the door with a quiet hug. Jamal called from Korea that night. They talked for an hour, about leadership, about patience, about what the uniform really means when the lights are off, and the world forgets who you are. In the weeks that followed, Hale kept a small silver star on his desk at the Pentagon. Not one of his own. It was a replica he had bought at the PX the day after Oklahoma. Every morning, he looked at it and remembered the night 3 men had tried to strip it from him with nothing but doubt and a pair of handcuffs that he never forgot. But he also never let it make him smaller, because some battles are not won with stars on the shoulder, they are won with the steel in the spine that earned them, and Reuben Hale had plenty of both.